All right, put this one back in. Appreciate you all for tuning back in to the nation. It is what it is at this point. And we're back open. We're back open with this thing. Thank you, everybody, for being back part of the mix. We're going to listen in to 105.3 The Fan. Guys, let your frustration out on me. Let me be the reason. Don't be mad at yourselves.
Yeah, it's been a signature play for us. We've been very successful over the years, with that idea, double teams at the point of attack and giving Zeke a chance to make the yard. And he's done that time and time again throughout his career, and they did a good job stopping us on that one. Incredibly proud of our football team. You talk about mental toughness and physical toughness. They demonstrated that the whole year. A young football team that grew a lot over the course of 16 games and a couple games in the playoffs. I think we learned from our experiences. I think we grew. I think we got tougher. I think we became a more hardened football team. I think a lot of young guys grew up, and they grew up together, and those are really positive things that we can build on. The Rams were a better team than we were today. They were, and I don't question our effort, our toughness, our fight. Those guys put it all out there. It inspires me. The hair stands up on the back of my neck when I talk about them and think about them. Everything they put out there is something else, and I love the group of guys we have. They care about each other. They love each other. They love this game. They go about it the right way. All things that we can build on for the future. At times, Amari did a really good job. Obviously, on the first drive, he had the big touchdown for us and came back a few other times throughout the game. So he's a good football player. We like to get him involved. I thought Michael Gallup did a lot of good
like
things
he about to
in
cry.
the ball game as well. So we're at our best when we spread the ball around. And each of those guys, they were a big part of what we did in the passing game. We just have to grow as a team in all areas. We have to get better on offense, better on defense, better in the kicking game. We have to continue to create competitive situations with our personnel on our roster so we can grow. And we have to learn from our experiences. A lot of different experiences this year that we'll grow from, we'll develop from. The early season inconsistency that we had, that we grew out of and played significantly better over the last half of the season. Having the playoff win last week is something we'll benefit from, and having the disappointment today is something we're going to benefit from. You have to remember these feelings when you stand in these locker rooms, when you have disappointment. That has to continue to drive you, and we have the kind of guys who that will. It'll be fuel for us going forward. Again, they're a good football team. They won 13 games. That doesn't happen by accident. They've done a very good job running the football all year long, and that was going to be a challenge for us. And again, we just didn't do a good enough job in that area. It's been one of the strengths of our defense all year long, trying to make teams one-dimensional. That's an objective that we have, and we didn't do that tonight. And we'll look at the tape, and we'll learn from this experience and get better.
They get the off on the edge. Is that the last guy that you think is going to do that, or how do you judge that situation with you guys that were able to not?
Yeah, there's some different things that you have to be ready for. Obviously, they want to run the ball in that situation to work some clock or force us to use a timeout. So you're ready for the runs to the backs. You're ready for the nakeds with the quarterback. Maybe you're ready for a quick screen. They did a good job just capturing the edge. And he was able to make that yardage and obviously end the game at that point. Yeah, CJ's a hell of a football player and has been in this league. He's done an excellent job wherever he's been. And you add him to a duo with Todd Gurley, that's a big-time tandem in the backfield that they have. But they do an excellent job with their scheme. They do an excellent job with their offensive linemen, blocking, and obviously the runners are damn good running the football. So hats off to them. They did a great job. They did a better job than we did tonight. And
yeah, they out-coach you tonight, Coach.
For the year they've had and going on to the next round.
Jeez.
Yeah, we addressed that earlier. They were committed to stopping the run, and they were going to have a lot of guys around the line of scrimmage. And even when we were in 3 wide receiver sets, they were staying in base. So they were committed to stopping our running game, and we had to run. We had to be able to throw them out of that defense. And at times we did. The big plays we had in the passing game were a result of that. Amari on the touchdown early on got a good matchup against the safety. So that's part of how these games go. If they're committed to taking one thing away, you have to beat them in another area. At times, they did a good job of that tonight.
Did you guys consider sticking with your base when they were out there at 11 personnel, trying to do what they did when they were running it so well? You didn't play base very much tonight.
Base on defense? Again, there are a lot of different things that we did to attempt to slow them down. Whether it's personnel or scheme or movement up front, a lot of different things that we tried, but they did a good job. They did a good job up front, controlling the line of scrimmage and running the football. Yeah, Michael's done an excellent job. A young player who played a lot of snaps for us, and you said it, he grew over the course of the season. He had some challenging situations that he had to deal with off the field and really handled that well, and then certainly he grew with the opportunities he had to play and built on the good stuff and learned from some of the challenging things on the field and just got better and better and better. And he was a big part of what we did tonight.
You think about you guys starting this deal in March, maybe some guys before that. Personality, have it hit you now, or did you get back home? What did it hit you?
Well, you just put it all out there. And, fortunate to be one of 8 teams playing this weekend. And we feel good about where we came this year and the growth and development of a young football team. But we had no plan for any meeting tomorrow. We had a plan to get ready to go play in the NFC Championship game. And then you have to regroup when you come into the locker room when you lose and you move forward. Again, we'll go back and watch this tape. We'll learn from this experience. We'll remember this feeling. We'll be better for it.
There's Jason Garrett. Say a lot of familiar tropes right here on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network, brought to you by AT&T. More for your thing, that's their thing. Also brought to you by the Salvation Army. Join the Dallas Cowboys in their fight for good as they help the Salvation Army assist thousands in need across DFW this holiday season. Your donation can make a big difference, so please give today at redkettlereason.org. Well, Jesse, the season comes full circle. Now on the text line and on Twitter, everybody wants Jason Garrett fired and Dak Prescott gone. Time is a flat circle. Okay, coming up next, the only number that mattered when it came to this game, Jesse, you talked about it on the pregame show. Why didn't the Cowboys do this more? We discussed that next. Dallas Cowboys football will continue.
Hi.
Running the rock with Dak Prescott. Oh, buddy. Those 4th and 1 play, that was a deep nail biter for us, not to get that first one. I think that was the crucial point of the game. Also, let me know if you guys can hear me. Let me know if everything is okay. 273 yards rushing. Yeah, they ran all over us, Daniel. They did. Dak did good, though. His game stats will show something, but, at the end of the day, the win column is everything. So we didn't get the W. And to me, personally, they didn't play to the point where they should have played as far as the running attack, scheming. And like I said, the Rams, they got at least 140 yards, at least by scheme alone. They got that. You can add that extra 10 yards from Jared Goff towards the latter part of the game. Scheme played everything. Trey F. Kennedy, if he said Dak played great, then he played great, because Trey's a hard evaluator of Dak Prescott. But it's one of those things, Cowboy Nation. We can't clean house at this point. We had to add some pieces together. To me, can we say this? Are you guys listening? We need a 1-2 combination running back with Ezekiel Elliott. There's no way in life you can roll out this same Ezekiel Elliott for next year and expect for him to have an explosive playoff result. The guy is doing just about everything. I think he leads the team in receptions, leads the team in reception yards almost, or close, or top 5 or top 3 in reception yards. And then if you look at it from this aspect, Ezekiel, he's leading the NFL in rushing. We need a 1-2 combination running back. And I'm not talking about big old Rod Smith. I love his skill set. But did you see him out here in the game? Did you see Rod Smith at all out there in the game? Did you see the utilization of Jameis Oluwale? I'm waiting. And this team, the coaching staff, they did not draw up one single play for Tavon Austin. I would love to see Tavon Austin get that reverse sweep and just run it all the way around, end around. They call him on a few fakes, but they never gave him the ball. And DJ Cobb said Zeke is slow. I don't think that he's slow, but I think that he's hammered. You know, the guy's fatigued, and it's just he looks lethargic, but he's not that. You know, I just think overutilization. I think I'm a financial analyst, so I think of diminishing rates of returns. I'm thinking of those type of things. I'm looking at it from a marginal aspect. You're getting so much out of Ezekiel Elliott that he don't get a chance to spell, or he get a chance to get the free, the free sideline pass. We got him doing just about everything. I think a good change of pace running back would have helped. You know, I think that a good explosive, just like whatever the Saints did with Mark Ingram, and they got the Kamara kid that comes in. I think that we need something like that. And Jarwin, he played today. Jarwin did his deal. Jarwin played okay. Although I still look at the Seattle Seahawks for twisting everybody's ankle. You know, Beasley was nicked up, didn't practice all week. Jarwin didn't practice all week. Them doggone sea chickens, man. And although we won the battle, the war was far from over. They knick-knacked all our guys by twisting their ankles. And I'm not trying to use that as an excuse, but we can look at some of those parameters, man. Karen, thank you for being part of this thing. I'm just shocked in tears. My Cowboys are done, and my daddy is gone. Man, I feel sorry for you, Karen. I'm praying for you. I have much love for you. I think he just hit me, and then we going to get this thing back. You see, a lot of people fail to realize that this game that we all share, we all love, it's emotional. I mean, we go back and we look at things that we only want to hope for one little thing to give us joy. And that's seeing our team play and watching our team compete and winning. And sometimes when you take those things away, you get emotional, you get drained. And then for us to root for this team, knowing now no other team in the National Football League or across any sports genre or any sports in particular that have the vicious attack like the national media got towards the Cowboys. Name me one team that's going to have 4 or 5 topics all this year that's going to bash the Cowboys, bash the wide receivers, bash the coaching staff, bash the quarterback, bash Ezekiel Elliott. And then on top of that, they're going to hold some type of thing, and they're going to wait for like news ratings. And they're going to say, hey, David Irving is now suspended for 14 games. They're going to do that. They're going to hold it right when the news get all slow. Then they're going to announce the suspension. Then they're going to have another 2 to 3 weeks of Cowboys suck talk, you know. There's no other team in the NFL, no other team in the NBA. Somebody can say the Yankees, somebody can say other bigger teams, but no. Not like our Cowboys. Let's listen to 105.3 The Fan. I hope you guys are okay. Don't forget, guys, this is just a game. Don't put everything on this Cowboys like that. Just root for the team and still love the team.
Mississippi State, but why not run the ball more with your quarterback?
And that's the question that we all want to know. Questions that need answers. And
is it something that they were doing defensively, do you think? I mean, it just seemed like...
No, the thing is that if you make him a runner, they now have one more person that they have to worry about.
There you go.
Which means they have to now put a guy on Dak Prescott. I think at this point in time, they were selling out to stop the run and thinking to themselves, we'll take our chances and rallying and going to tackle Dak Prescott if he decides to run any type of way. There wasn't a threat of him being a runner. There wasn't, in the back of their mind, Dak Prescott being a runner was an afterthought. It was maybe 1 or 2 plays here he might get us, but him being a consistent, viable runner, and I'm not saying run him 12, 14, 15 times a game. Right. I'm saying have in the back of your mind, we have to leave somebody at home to spy, to worry about, to take care of the running option of Dak Prescott. that wasn't in the forefront of the Rams' defensive game plan or the forefront of the mind of the Rams' defensive players. That was somewhere logged in behind. You know, we worried more about Tavon Austin on reverses and other stuff like that before we started worrying about Dak Prescott being a runner.
877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. Look, I thought Dak Prescott played pretty well throughout this game. I mean, their offense, as you said, just didn't have sustained drives. The running game obviously didn't get. This was a team they were supposed to be able to run the football against consistently, and they didn't. And credit Wade Phillips, game planning wise, really took some chances on the outside. Wanted Dak Prescott to beat him, and at times he did. Had some pretty good throws. Had a really nice pass to Amari Cooper that was a touchdown. Had that ridiculously awesome pass and great catch by Gallup that got them on the goal line. But just probably didn't do enough with his legs. Obviously didn't do enough through the air, and a lot of that was just the Rams possessing the football as often as they did, and their punishing ground game. You know, I said when the Cowboys were down by 8 late in the third quarter, they'd only given up 23 points to that part of the game. I said this is not on the defense. This is on the offense for only putting up 15 points. But 30 is kind of the number where you think even the Cowboys, their offense, the way they played recently, just too much to overcome. Again, this defense had given up points since that Saints game. The idea that this Cowboys defense was as dominant as it was in that Saints game, still, that's untrue. The defense played its best. It peaked at that game against the Falcons, against the Saints. That was the best we were going to see of this defense. This defense was going to give up points. It was on the offense to be able to match what the Rams were doing. But 30 was too much, and even not trying to diminish, even saying the defense is going to give up points, 30 is too much. 6 of 8 drives is too much. I mean, the whole thing of just unable to get off the field on third down. There were obviously some weird penalties in this game that went against the Cowboys, but you have to allow your team to be the reason for the outcome of the game. You can't allow officials to decide games. It's Jesse Holley. I'm Ari Temkin. This is the Dallas Cowboys postgame show brought to you by Albertsons, the official supermarket of the Dallas Cowboys. We'll hear from you at 877-881-1053, plus perhaps Dak Prescott as well. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
You hear that? Yes, indeed. Oh, boy. Oh, Stephen A. Smith is having a ball right now. It's all good. Checking out his Twitter page. Here's one of the top news or the feeds on my Twitter. I think I probably had to get off of Twitter, right? Shout out to y'all, man. Rodney Ellis, thank you for being part of this thing. Terrell, what's up, man? Cowboys fan. Have to start doing and stop thinking every year they're going to go to the Super Bowl. They have to be realistic about the organization as a whole. Terrell Fitzpatrick, I agree. I agree with Terrell Fitzpatrick. I think that sometimes it's been so long that the Cowboys fan base, they always think, and I'm including part of the Cowboys fan base, that every year we're going to win the Super Bowl. But realistically, I think that you should build and find ways to grow within your team. And I understand that a lot of people saying, okay, this should have been a year, this should have been a year. But we needed help with stopping the run. We saw their flaws against the Colts. We didn't make that correction. We stumbled ourselves a little bit with the Colts, and we got our butt whooped. And we figured out a way to win against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, but the Tampa Bay Buccaneers didn't have the strong mindset to run the ball, so we never corrected that thing. So we kind of short of shot ourselves in the foot with depending on players to come back who never showed up in those particular parameters. And I'm talking about number 95 and the other guys. We had some sparing parts that everybody rallied and chased to the ball to stop particular passes, but we just never was great against stopping the run. And then we tried to play experimental football in the playoffs. You don't do that. You stick with what got you there. And what would have happened, and this is just me knowing, everybody that played sports, they know how this thing go. They know what's going on. When you played sports, it's something about when you're in a game and you are able to look at it in the third quarter and the fourth quarter, you say, I saw that in the second quarter. I saw that in the first quarter. But when you are being moved around like musical chairs, then guess what happened? the continuity, the poise, the same temperament that Jalen Smith had, and all of a sudden I saw Jalen Smith for a full doggone series with his arms folded, and I was sitting there saying to myself, you do not do Jalen Smith like that. You just don't. You don't experiment in the playoff. You keep Jalen Smith alive, locked, loaded, and ready. Thanks for the donation to help grow the nation. Chris Stone says, DC for life. Great season. Proud of my Cowboys. 3-5, and they turn it around. Come back strong next year. Hey, I agree. We got to be proud of them. We can't be all the way upset, but we got to be proud of them for this thing. Zeke had 20 carries. Oh, wow.
Ask if anybody noticed.
Yes, indeed. Bring it back. We'll bring it back next year. I would say this, change of pace running back. I think the tight end, Jarwin, he showed me a lot of promise. Hopefully he can stay healthy. Somehow we need to figure out if Jarwin can spend his summertime with Jason Witten. Maybe some of that can rub off on him as far as being healthy. And maybe we can figure out those things. We need to get this left guard situation straight. I saw Connor Williams get blown up 3 times in a game. 3 freaking times against the run. And that's 0 excuses. I understand that he's learning, he's developing, but right now is not the time. I know that for everybody going to say that's Aaron Donald. He's going to do that regardless against anybody. You put Xavier Suafilo in there, and that would establish at least the presence of a grown man hitting you. The presence of a grown man's strength. Maybe you put in Connor Williams next year, but that's a horse of a different color. That's water under the bridge now. Look, if Connor Williams is going to be your left guard next year, then dog it, let him be the left guard then. Hopefully we can get Travis Frederick back, but we probably need to draft a guard or somewhere in the mix, or a tackle, somebody who can flex, because this is going to have to be the deal. Gallup, he did show up. Gallup did a good deal. Anybody know that for sure that Kareem Hunt 4-year, $100 million guaranteed? I don't know about
over
Kareem
100
Hunt.
yards receiving. He becomes the first Cowboys rookie receiver to have over 100 yards in a playoff game. That I guess the last record who had it was Alvin Harper, who had 88 yards. So, it's good to see a young player like Michael Gallup, to see where he came from in the season as a rookie. The devastation that he went through with his brother who committed suicide, and him just continuing to find his way, learning and growing, and had a really big game today. But Ari, I'm looking at the stats from the Cowboys game. I'm watching the highlights earlier from the Chiefs Colts game that was going on while we were doing our pregame show, and when you look at the National Football League, the way it's constructed right now, I don't know what the games tomorrow will bring, but today, all year long, this league has been this high-powered, high-octane, quarterbacks throwing for 400 yards, touchdown after touchdown after touchdown. Everything now is, explosive passing offense. You know what it comes down to in the playoffs, Ari? Running the football, playing defense.
Defense.
Kansas City Chiefs, they run for over 150 yards in this game. Pat Mahomes, for the first time this season, threw for 0 touchdowns. Had 0 touchdowns. They ran for over 150 yards, and they sacked Andrew Luck, I think, 4 or 5 times. Got after him. Batted balls were knocked down at the line of scrimmage for Andrew Luck. Sacked him, hurried him, pressured him. Cowboys, Rams. This team's been a high-octane passing game all year long. Over 270 yards rushing. And then they shut the Cowboys down from what they wanted to do defensively.
Yep.
They got after the quarterback, sacked him. They stopped the best running back in football, Ezekiel Elliott. So you can say all you want about how this league is turned into a passing game, a passing league. When it comes down to it, when it comes down to the nuts and bolts of what the National Football League is, its pure essence, it's running the football, it's playing good defense. That goes anywhere and everywhere. That works in every single weather climate. That works in every single stadium, every single coast, every single time zone, every single time of the game. I don't care what the network it is. I don't care what team it is. Running the football and playing defense. And the Rams did it at a way higher rate than the Cowboys did today. And the same thing with the Chiefs and the Colts. And that's why they're going on to their division conference championship games, and the others are going home.
Chiefs, 33 carries as a team, 180 yards. It's 5.5 yards a carry. And obviously the Rams, 48 for 273. It's 5.7 on the other side. Cowboys, 22 carries, 50 yards. It is a 2.3 average. The Indianapolis Colts, 14 for 87. So they ran at 6 yards a carry, just only 14 of those carries, though. So you're right. 180 yards rushing for the Chiefs and 273 yards rushing for the Los Angeles Rams. We'll hear from Dak Prescott in a moment. But first, let's go to the phones at 877-881-1053. 877-881-1053. Johnny in Oak Cliff. Go ahead, Johnny.
Oak
You're on the
Cliff.
Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Good evening. Y'all are the professionals, so with that being said, my only issue with the game is that they scored too fast. Now, of course, this is the NFL. You don't pass up points whenever you can get them. My whole point is that our offense isn't built up to score at will. I feel Dak didn't get a good what am I trying to say? He didn't get his momentum going. Excuse me.
Appreciate the call, Johnny. Let me just say this, because I know, Jesse, we hear this a lot out of the locker room, and I know I've heard Cole Beasley talk about this. Like, this is not a high-powered offense, the Cowboys. It's not built to score points. Well, why not? I get that, but like that just sounds really stupid. It sounds really like, oh yeah, this is not one of those offenses built to score points.
Yeah, what does that
What's
come
the
from?
game?
That comes from the leadership. That comes from the guys who are developing the game plan, the guys who are constructing the game plan, the guys who are calling the game plan. If you don't go out and get players to have a high-powered offense, if you don't get an offensive scheme that will deliver a high-powered offense, then you won't be a high-powered offense. And Scott Linehan and Jason Garrett, they aren't those type of coaches. They don't have that kind of offense, so you don't get players that allows you to be a high-octane offense. So it starts at the top. And say, like, listen, every coach and every scheme draws up every play that if we do everything exactly right, it'll score a touchdown. But that's not the way this thing works. You have to take those chances to go downfield and score points to be a high-octane offense. This team is not that. And today they ran into a team who was better at doing what they wanted to do than you were at that moment.
Yeah, I've heard Cole Beasley say we're not an offense built to score a lot of points and have quick drives. Okay, well, then build that offense. I'm Ari Temkin. He's Jesse Holly. This is the Dallas Cowboys postgame show. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to the...
Well, this is the thing. What Ari failed to realize, I don't think he ever played it down in the National Football League or understand the nation of how this football team is built. You do not change your team in the middle of the race. You do what got you there. TOP, time of possession. And that's how you win this particular, the way the Cowboys should have won this game. Now, you got to capitalize off of your decisions when you get the ball. That's the thing. And when you score, when we was up 7-6, the game was in our favor. But when we got the ball back again, guess what? We punted the ball away, or we got a chance to not score and capitalize. And when you don't do that against a high-power octane team, then you do not win. Now, the good thing is that we stopped the pass. We stopped them. We held them off from passing the ball, because that's what we've been doing for the last several games. We've been stopping the pass and forcing teams to bail out from the run and to play into our hands. That's when your D. Laws of the world can eat. That's when your Randy Gregory's of the world can eat. And that's when you can see the shine. That's from the inside, from the Antoine Barbecue Woods and also my guy Malik Collins. But when you have the opposition is able to run the rock and kill us with time of possession, eliminating the turnovers, not having the quarterback to throw the ball to win the game, then you see this type of game. The game plan was exact same game plan from the Indianapolis Colts. It's simple but yet complex. Name me different what the coach did different from what we saw today. Nothing. Even the rollout play from Jared Goff was similar to what Andrew Luck was able to do. Now, quarterback QB, the king, he said the entire team played awful beside Dak. I think that the entire team just didn't play up to performance, including Dak on certain plays. Dak Prescott, his stats are going to look great. Everything going to look good when we look at it from 5 to 10 years from now. But collectively, this team just didn't play up to par. And I will put a lot of that on the coaching staff, too. I will put a lot of that on them. But let's go.
Just all the ups, all the downs. The team that we had are 3-5 and being counted out by everyone, but backs against the wall mentality, the way we were able to fight just to get to where we are right now was inspiring and incredible. All the men on this team, I'm proud of this team, but anytime you lose, especially when you know the team that we have and as close as we felt we were.
We was out coach,
man.
Not
a good feeling.
You missed a huge opportunity here.
Yeah, I mean, as I just said, we had a good team, and when you know you have a good team like this and you feel so confident about the team you have, the defense that we have, yeah, definitely just simple as that, miss an opportunity and you don't know when you get them back.
Shocking to see this defense give up 200-yard rushers. Obviously, the defense has been great for you guys this season, but tonight it was a real struggle.
I mean, I've got my defenses back no matter what. I understand that was a struggle today. I think they would all say that the same. But they've had our back all year long when we've struggled. When we fell from putting up points to keep us in the game, they're the ones that always had our back and kept us in the game and given us a chance to win all year long. So, I mean, I'll ride with those guys any day of the week.
There were some of those games earlier in the season where you guys fell behind and you sort of had to put it on your arm to get back in the game.
I mean, no, I don't think that's exactly correct. I mean, yeah, we kind of fell back early in this game, but we were able to get back into it. Defense made a stop there in the third quarter. We were able to make it a touchdown game. We just didn't get it done on fourth down, and I think that really changed the game right there. You get that? I mean, we're still running the ball, we're throwing the ball, we're doing everything, and it's not, hey, we got to drop back and throw it every single time. So we just weren't able to execute when we needed to, and it hurt. I mean, I've always said this. I just kind of let that come to me. It's not something I go in the game say I've got to run 10 times to do this or to do that, but yeah, I let that happen. One more time. Yeah, I mean, definitely. Something you got to go back and look on film. I can't tell you right now why we didn't convert that, but as I'm going to give credit to that defense and just this team making that stop when they needed to and getting us off the field. They didn't tell me anything. I didn't actually necessarily know that was LC at the time, so I wasn't sure what exactly happened, or I kind of thought the whistle blown because it was one of their guys and he was saving me, so I wasn't sure until I come off, see our coaches confused, and then talking to Kellen and figured out then that it was Lyle, so I'm not real sure of that. No, like I said, I didn't know it was happening at that moment, so no. Yeah, I mean, we're a young team. We've got a lot of guys that have the right makeup to make sure that we get back here and hopefully get past this round. But what sucks is just being in that locker room, just my short 3 years in the league, understanding that the team's not always going to be the same. You're going to lose guys, and guys are going to be gone, sometimes coaches, and that's the unfortunate part about it. So right now it's just about enjoying this time, I guess, with these guys and with this team, and have this team meeting tomorrow, and then it's moving forward to getting back to this point and getting past this point.
You've been at this since mid-February, and to have it end, what's the finality of it like to know there's no more practices, no more ready to get ready for it?
It just means I got to get back to it again come February. Simple as that. It's not anything you can dwell over. I can't change anything now. It's just about getting better and making sure that I become a better player, make sure the people around me become a better player. We're going to turn the page and do that here pretty soon.
Is this a lesson in any way of how important it is to have home field advantage?
Nah, not at all. I mean, we just let an opportunity slip. I don't think this has anything to do with the home field advantage or not. Credit Cowboy Nation, just the way that they came out and supported here tonight. I don't think home field advantage was really a factor for them in winning this game. They just executed when we didn't, and they're the better team tonight. Simple as that.
It's a terrific season, and they've just kind of been a flash. It's over.
That's the NFL. I think all but one team that happens to. So that's the NFL. Yep, thank you.
That's Dak Prescott right here on the Dallas Cowboys radio network. A dejected Dak Prescott wasn't willing to put any responsibility on the defense, as you'd expect. The Cowboys lose. They fall, and their season comes to a close 30-22. We're taking your phone calls at 877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. But, Jess, before Dak Prescott came on, we took a call. The guy talked about hope for the future, likes the draft picks, likes where this team is heading. And you said next year is not promised.
Yeah, that's the one thing I want fans to listen to, because remember, it's been 23 years. The NFL roster changes over 33% will be changed next year on this NFL roster. And now you're talking about, when we came into this season, we didn't know Travis Frederick would have Guillain-Barré syndrome.
Right.
Didn't know that. We didn't
even know what Guillain-Barré syndrome was.
Didn't even know what it was. We didn't know all the things that would happen in the course of, from the end of the season to when the season starts again. There'll be new players. There'll be new schemes. Well, probably won't. Not offensively. But you can't look at what you have now and think that it's going to be the same thing next year. Because teams are going to get better next year. You don't know what may happen between now and the offseason. You know how much time and situations can happen between now and time the season starts? And that's the one thing. If I had one criticism since my time as being a Dallas Cowboys player and covering the Cowboys in the media, has been that the Cowboys have been with this next year's our year for 20-something years. But things change year in and year out every single year. We don't know what it will be next year. That's why you have to take advantage of these opportunities now, because it's not promised. You don't know what it's going to be next year. You may not, guess what? Next year, you might not have the ability to fire our O-line coach and get the push that you got this year from Hudson Houck and the Mark Colombo. You might not be able to find them.
Yeah, but if you go with that mindset and say, okay, well, what I'm going to do next year, fold up like a lawn chair, you got to say next year. And I understand that we always say, hey, Cowboys next year. But it's different. This is so totally different. This team and makeup is different. What Will McClay got with these young guys are tremendous. It's a tremendous step up from what we've seen in the previous years. We understood that we had to do a lot of clean out and things like that. But if you can continue to stay positive, we can figure out, go back, regroup everything that needs to be done. Then we will have the mentality of saying to ourselves, okay, we get a change of pace running back now. Now we get a better tight end. Well, not a better tight end because I like what Jarwin is doing. But we get a better safety out there in the deep field. Maybe we can find room to improve on the defensive tackle and stop relying on, wait till 95 get back. Hopefully he can get it right with his baby mama. Maybe we can figure out things with his kid. Maybe we can get this thing going. Maybe he can stop smoking the weed. Now we understood that 94, he stepped it up. He's really feeling like he want to play football. And number 90, maybe we got to figure out a way to reach in our pockets, pay him. And we got to draft another linebacker. We got to draft another linebacker. And it can flat foot happen, guys. It can. So, yes, we lost. Yes, it's right now for everybody to rain on our parade, but we got to stay focused.
To a really fun 5-game stretch where their defense balled out.
It's another thing. The Cowboys don't have a first-round pick this year. Like, you got Amari Cooper, and praise to Amari Cooper. He'll be here for another year, but you don't have a first-round pick this year. So there's probably another elite player that you could have gotten that you won't get. I'm not saying that Amari is not worth it. Amari was definitely worth the pick. It seemed like that this year it was worth it. There's still time to tell about how it'll all pan out, because if all he gave you was what he gave you this year for a first-round pick, then it wasn't worth it.
Oh,
but if he pans out and he signs here,
now.
he re-signs here, and you keep him for the next 6-7 years, and it works out, he's a 1,000-yard receiver every single year, it works out.
Oh, come on, Jesse. You know good and well. Amari Cooper was worth everything for this. Because if not, if we never picked up Amari Cooper, we would be what? We wouldn't be having these wins. You saw how it opened up everything. Just because we see Michael Gallup eating today, you know why Michael Gallup ate today? Is because the coverage was rolled. Roll coverage to Amari Cooper's side. So I understand that when you sound talking about, well, it's going to be more so for down the line, but come on, guys. Let's not fall into the trap too much on that.
The Washington Redskins and whoever else that you have to play. There'll be some teams that'll get worse next year, but guess what? There'll be another set of teams that get way better next year that you may have to face. So that's why when you say, well, next year, and yeah, it looks promising, but you just don't know the outcome of what next year will be until you get there.
Most importantly, can they get offensive schemes and principles that are in line with 2019 National Football League football, right? That's
it hadn't happened in 10 years.
That's it. The idea, again, that, well, this is not a team that scores a lot of points. Okay, then build one that does, because you score more points, you win the game. This is very simple stuff here. If you have an offense that's not built to score points, then score points. Build an offense that scores points.
Or build a defense that doesn't give up a lot of points. One or the other. But you got to go one way.
877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. Staley is in Euless. Go ahead, Staley. You're on the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Hey, isn't Jason Garrett an offensive guru? And everything you say tonight, you can put the word again in front of everything we say about this game tonight. And in his presser, all he talked about was the L.A. Rams. And all year long, for 17 games, all we heard about was, we do what we do. We don't care about what we do. Process. I want to hear about results. We have to get rid of this coach. That's our first-round pick right there. Pick a coach.
Appreciate the call, Jesse.
I understand the frustration. I do. I really do. But, and I'm no Jason Garrett apologist. I'm no Jason Garrett defender. I have been one who has had the shovel digging his grave for a long time.
This season. Both of us.
This season. But in his defense, I know today and right now hurts. But you guys weren't screaming that when they were on a 6-game winning streak. Like that's what I'm saying. Like if you weren't screaming that when they were winning 6 games in a row or whatever it was, because nothing changed in the offense. It was still only scoring about 20 points a game. It was still had all the same deficiencies and inefficiencies. And you weren't saying fire him then. You can't say fire him now. Like, you have to be consistent with this thing. And the one thing that Jason Garrett, outside of his pressers, he has been consistent with is having this team never, ever quit. This team is always ready to play. This team always give max effort. Now, it may not end in the result that you wanted to, but this team hasn't quit on him.
And the biggest thing that I always criticized Garrett for was the inability to evolve, grow, adapt over the course of games, over the course of a game, over the course of seasons. It's a fatal flaw for a coach. And look, he's changed this year. He has evolved as a person. He's become... This was a guy that was, for so long, risk-averse. See, I saw a guy in this game that was willing to take risks.
Yeah, he's willing to take risks, but I wouldn't say...
Right. So the risk that Jason Garrett does sometimes don't outweigh the reward. But this is the thing with Jason Garrett. He's not going anywhere. But one thing that we can say, Cowboy Nation, and I have yet to change my tune on this. I always been saying this right here. Scott Linehan, look, he got to go. He got to go. I don't want to see this vertical offense. It's something just about this offense alone. Maybe you can bring in a different type of offensive coordinator that knows how to utilize Dak Prescott to his best ability. Jason Garrett, okay, Cowboys, they can have that. I understand. He got something dealing with Jerry Jones. He's the child of Jerry Jones, whatever it may be. It's a fantasy deal going on with Jerry Jones and Jason Garrett. They can keep that. They can elevate Chris Richard to defensive coordinator. They can keep Rob Marinelli as the defensive front. We get some weapons out there. We get a defensive tackle guy. We get a better safety, a strong safety, somebody that can cover out in space and tackle well outside of Jeff Heath. Jeff Heath does a wonderful job, but hey, I would rather for Jeff Heath to be a rotational guy. Just my opinion. Just my opinion from what I can see out there on tape and film, okay? Now, you shore up those two ends there, and then what you do, you bring in a coaching staff that can throw in some new freaking wrinkles. How many times we saw the Rams motion? How many times we saw the Rams not just taking the field vertically, but moving the ball horizontal, using the speed that they got? Man, that could benefit this team. Now, on top of that, when people talk about this team can't be explosive and things like that, I remind you, it took all the way until the last year, 2017. Remember, before the Rams game, guess what team was averaging 28 points a game? I will wait. I will flat foot sit here and wait. The Dallas Cowboys was averaging 28 points a game. So to me, personally, the offense can be explosive. You just need a change of pace running back. Shore up that offensive line. Hopefully we can get some good lucky feats from my guy, Travis Frederick. He can get back out there and play. And then on top of that, maybe we can utilize the middle of the field. Dak Prescott should be a little bit more seasoned. And we can get this thing going. But those are the things that need to happen. Shout out to Mr. Truckee for making a donation to help grow the nation. Tough loss. Let's regroup. Let's get ready for the next season. Cowboy Nation all day. Yes. All day, every day.
And they picked a bad time to do it tonight. And so I think you have to give some credit to the Rams because they schemed perfectly. Everything they did worked. And some of that, because we're following the Cowboys, we want to say, well, they were awful. And then if we were covering the Rams, we'd say, man, were they great tonight? And I do think that they were just better tonight. It's disappointing for Cowboy fans. But look, they were 13-3 for a reason. They were number 2 in scoring for a reason. Averaged 37 points at home all year. And the Cowboys did not play well enough to overcome that. That's simple.
Brad, for me, offensively, when you look at the Cowboys and what they want to do as far as running the football and being that dominant force up front, and a Rams team all year long who's given up over 120 yards a game, last in yards
and 5 yards a carry.
Right, and 5 yards a carry, last in rushing yards and rushing yards per attempt. And they come in and Zeke Elliott, he has only 20 carries, he has 50 yards rushing. I think that was the most disappointing part to me, is that the ability to do it has been there for the Cowboys all year long, and against a team that you kind of almost would be salivating to play against in the run game, shut them out up front.
Yeah, that was not the most disappointing part to me, although I agree it was very disappointing and a huge part of why they lost. But to me, it's given up 273 yards rushing. 2 different backs each get 100 yards. I mean, what are we talking about here? That you can't beat a high school team playing like that. Right. And I really do think that the two play hand in hand. There were they did get to a point in the fourth quarter where they just couldn't stay with the run. You had to start throwing the ball. And because under different circumstances, then he's going to have more than 20 carries. He might have 28. And if you keep pounding, you might break one. But they were behind the 8 ball from the time that penalty was called on Byron Jones late in the second quarter. Whether he did it or not, I don't know. But it was 3rd and 14, and they had him off the field. And that penalty gave him a first down. And if I'm not mistaken, either the next play or one of the next couple of ensuing plays, Gurley broke a 35-yard run.
Yep.
And now instead of 14 or 6 or 13, instead of 13-7, and you've got the ball with a chance to drive one more time, now you're down 20-7, and you're playing catch up the rest of the night. If I had one play back in the whole game, it would be that play.
Yeah, they called illegal hands to the face on Byron Jones when he and the
Brandon Cooks
were engaged basically in mutual blocking, right? And it's a 3rd and 14. They called that on the line of scrimmage. It's a very questionable call. I thought the 4th down and 1 call with the jumbo package by the offense was probably a questionable call. Brad, you mentioned during the broadcast, now they've got to fix the offense during the offseason. Where do you start?
The first thing that you do is you look at everything. You have to go back, Ari, and look at every single play. I think you have to first you have to figure out okay, what contracts are up? How am I going to have to address personnel? Off the top of my head, I want to say that Cole Beasley and Jeff Swaim are the two who are out of contract. So you have to decide if you can afford to keep them, if you want to keep them.
And then Tank, of course, as well.
No, but we're talking about the offense.
Oh, offense. I'm sorry. You're right.
No. Tank is the top priority. But Ari asked me about the offense.
Yes, you're right.
So generally speaking, contractually, they're not in bad shape. Now you've got like Cameron Fleming is out of contract. I want to try to re-sign him at a reasonable price because backup tackles are hard to find, and he may not be Rayfield Wright, but he's pretty good as backup tackles go because we've seen what the alternative
always
is.
Later. Good night.
So you want to re-sign him. There might be one or two others, but you have to decide on Swaim and Beasley first. And so let's say you can't afford to sign Swaim. Now you have a clearly improved Jarwin. You have a clearly improved and improving Schultz. I still think I need another tight end. That might or might not be the case if I decide I either want to or can keep Swaim. If you can't sign Beasley, then you have to replace that position somehow. You've got to get a slot receiver who can do what he can do. And you probably want to add another receiver anyway. And I think that, I need more depth in the offensive line. I think one of the things they have to do, Ari, before they can decide what personnel moves to make is they got to look at those linemen. And they have to decide, okay, do I have a left guard in Suafilo? I might. And if I do, then where does Connor Williams fit? Because he fits, and he's going to get better. He's going to get bigger and better. Tonight he got abused a little bit occasionally by Aaron Donald, and so does everybody else in the league.
Right.
But he's going to be a good player. But the question is where? And, what's Lyle Collins' best position? So in the draft, I think I'm going to want a couple of offensive linemen. How high, I don't know, but I think when you talk about what are you going to do to address the offense, I think you have to figure out about the personnel, and then when you know what you've got to play with, or maybe not then, maybe in conjunction with it, I think you have to figure out if the scheme you're running is the best one for your personnel, and if not, do you want some kind of different kind of scheme?
Brad Sham, it's been an absolute pleasure to listen to you call all the action the entire season. Tremendous, tremendous job with you and Babe and Christy and everybody else on every one of the broadcasts. It's been an honor to be a part of this with you, and it's been great to hear you all season.
Great job by you guys, Ari and Jesse, and it's been a pleasure being with you, and I look forward to the preseason getting going.
That's right. Can't wait to see you again in Oxnard in August 2019.
All right, boys. Take the rest of the month off.
You too, buddy. Brad Sham joining us right here on the Dallas Cowboys postgame show with Jesse Holley. I am Ari Temkin. Plenty more to get to. Dallas Cowboys football will continue in a moment.
And now, an ad from Mom.
Yes, indeed, Cowboy Nation. Yes, indeed. 2019. Here we go. Let me know, guys. You already know. I always ask for you guys to do this for me. Give me a list of, 5 or 10 players that you guys want me to take a look at as far as film breakdowns, film reviews, as far as college, and some of the free agent people that's out there as well, as far as the NFL. Let me know. So now it's time to do the back end of the work. Film breakdown, looking at players, looking at people that we possibly can get in the second round, third round, fourth round draft picks, and see who's all out there on the market. We do know one person out there, Earl Thomas, right? He'll be out there, right? So he'll be out there. There's some other guys that may be out there that we can take a real good look at to bring in to see how they can help elevate this team for the push for next year. Every year, we got to figure out a way to better our best. Last year, it was all a mess. We didn't make the playoff at all. We were still 9-7, but we didn't make the playoff. And I said, okay, the Ezekiel Elliott drama for your baby mama and all this stuff, the drama for your mama type of stuff that went on. And I said, okay, of course, if we win if Ezekiel Elliott played every game, we would be a +1 game, right? So, but going into the 4th year with this particular 2016 draft class that we have, we need to see improvements from all across the board, right? We still looking for Taco Charlton to step it up, right? We're still looking for some consistency with our young quarterback. We understand that portion, but hopefully he can get better and start off a little bit better than he did this year. We know Amari Cooper going to be back. Free agent Cincinnati Bengals tight end. I forgot his name. Swaggy D, yes. Locks, man, don't be sick, man. Don't be sick. 5 Super Bowl wins, Nate Wolf. Let's move that away. Ryan Tannehill for backup quarterback. I would like that. Anybody can be a backup quarterback. That would be a good look to look at. Back to back, yes. OC, offensive coordinator. That's what we need. I feel you on that. Hey, we got to figure out a way. My number one goal would be, okay, let's solidify defensive tackle. Let's solidify. I can't even talk today. Let's solidify the core, defensive side of the ball now, and let's figure out safety. Then let's figure out possible a Sam linebacker that we can fill into the mix. Let's look at. Let's see what else. Sam linebacker will stop and help out us against the run because the tape is out there now. We got some money, so don't worry about money too much, guys. I see somebody said, Dallas Cowboy Junkie said, hey, Earl Thomas worth $10 million tops. We got money this year. So we got to utilize some of that money. We can't just hold it and sit on it. You got to utilize some of it and pay off our guys like D-Law and some of the guys that needed to be keeping their contract going, Go get Hunt, Darryl J. Man, how can we survive the PR sting off of that? How can we survive the PR? Let's see if they back.
Succinct and well said from Zeke Elliott there. Said he told you all week, 5 yards a carry. Different in playoff football, and boy, was he right. Zeke Elliott, 20 carries, 47 yards, and a touchdown. He added 2 receptions. What's the magic number, Jesse?
20 carries, 25.
22.
22.
Zeke. In the decisive game carries for the Dallas Cowboys, they lose 30-22. We're reacting with you, 877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. The Dallas Cowboys postgame show brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. All year, this is a team that counted on its defense and its running game, and both of those things let them down in this decisive game. And that's the coda of the season. That is the obituary of the season. That's it. That's it. You count on your defense and your running game. The teams that force you out of your identity, your comfort zone, that's how you lose. That's how you lose in the playoffs.
A lot of times teams who do certain things don't like it to be done to them. Like a lot of time that happens. Teams that run the football really, really, really well don't want it really, really, really ran back at them. And today the Rams just literally took what the Cowboys love to do and smacked them in the face with it. And they had no answer. Not Tank, not Antoine, not Tyrone, not Leighton Vander Esch, not the Predator, not Sean Lee,
not Taco,
not anyone.
Leave my defense alone.
Definitely no Taco.
No Taco at all.
They didn't do. There were 0 sacks. They had no sacks on Jared Goff.
Well, they had one. Lyle Collins sacked Dak Prescott. Lyle Collins sacked Dak Prescott.
Oh, Lyle Collins. I'm like, okay, yeah.
Give the Cowboys the one sack they had.
The Lyle Collins sack. I'm like, wait, what?
Remember
when he grabbed him from behind. That's right. He was doing a Heimlich maneuver on him.
Both you and Troy Hughes are like, huh?
Yeah.
I was like,
what happened?
Like, I'm tripping.
Lyle Collins sacked Dak Prescott. Cowboys had one.
But there was no pressure on
none. All game.
Jared Goff. I mean, like,
Hot boys were cold.
They were.
Y'all
someone brought the extinguisher out and
y'all better
really
stop being disrespectful to my Cowboys.
Put it to them.
I mean,
y'all
you said
Cowboys syndicate channel.
I mean, it's a lesson as old as football. Win the battle at the line of scrimmage, and they just got demoralized on both lines of scrimmage. The offensive line of the Saints completely and utterly demolished them, and on defense.
And the Rams' offensive line isn't that good.
Right.
That right side of that offensive line, Andrew Whitworth, they went and got him from Cincinnati, and he has really helped the left side, the blind side of Jared Goff all year long has been just huge for them. But that right side has been.
It's not about how good that offensive line is. I'm trying to tell these guys. Man, I'm the defensive-minded guy. When you motion every single play. And this defense, what do we do better than any other team out there in the NFL? We fly out to the ball, we chase, we crash upfield. And guerrilla warfare, you use their strength as their weakness. You see what I'm saying? So that's what they did. They said, okay, they're going to try to crash with the linebackers on this side of the field. No worry, we are motion the tight end to this side. And then on top of that, at the same breath of that motion, we would take the other guy as an end around. So it was like a motion number Higbee, whatever his name is, well, whatever his number is, Higbee. I motion Higbee this way. I send the flanker receiver or the receiver they line up on the X this way. And that confused the good Lord. They confused the hell. I'm trying to give you PG-13. I want to say some other words, but I know we got kids probably watching this thing. And that confused the world out of this defense. They wasn't ready for it. That's why you have this guy, the belly with the jelly. I mean, just rumbling 35. Looked like he had ate everything in life. That's why he needed 3 spoons. Man, he was doing a 2-spoon deal, but that brother, he needed him a 3rd spoon because he was eating everything up off of scheme. And then they used that same look, the exact same play, and they play action off of it. Look, Sean McVay, he was drawing up plays like I would draw up plays almost. And I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal, but he was just drawing up plays like that. Out of the same setup, out of the same suite. And he was saying, okay, you thinking, where's the spoon? You thought you was finna eat something, huh? You not finna eat off of the running back now. Because guess what? Jared Goff is finna pass to Higbee now. Oh, you finna shut down Higbee? Okay. Jared Goff didn't do anything spectacular today. Matter of fact, and don't disrespect me, I'm not James Harden Jr. I'm 8 years older than James Harden, so keep that in your mental. Don't disrespect the law now. But this is the thing. I'm saying right here is that, and respect your elders too. Respect your elders around here. Don't be talking about James Harden Jr. Y'all gotta realize and recognize now. Come on, don't be disrespectful. We got out coach. That's what the bottom line is. Now, let's just go listen back to 105.3 The Fan.
Only a Jack in the Box.
Okay, they on commercial break. But that's the thing. That's the thing right here. That is the thing. Shout out to Texas Kid. Yes. Man, we was out scheme. And when you scheme well, you can put up at least 7 to 8 points just off of scheme alone. Off of scheme alone, your coach can put up 7 to 18 points almost just off of scheme. And we saw that. This defense still strong. This defense still got that tenacity, can still crash upfield. But they had these guys running to the right when they said, look, I'm to the left right now with this ball. Go back and look at tape. You guys going to see when they pull out that all 22, man, you're going to sit back and say to yourself, man, my boy was right there. Whoa, wait a minute. He's shooting the wrong gap right now. They worried about, look, they had this guy Woods. They gave it around to Reynolds, whatever his name is. But how many times the Cowboys, we did the reverse sweep? How many times we did send our guys in motion? And when we finally did, guess what? The ball was thrown down the field. We was like, oh, okay, good play by Dak Prescott off of this deal. Oh, they rolled it to the right. Oh, good play by the tight end now. I was looking for that play to have the same look, but Just flip it to the left. Roll them out to the left at least. I've been crying, please stop. Please at least roll them out to the right, but they finally did it twice or 3 times. They had 3 plays that he rolled out to the right, and each one of those plays, outside of one, I believe, there was a called pass by the receiver. One play, my guy Rico was like, okay, is this basketball drill? Let me put it down on the ground. Let me play some basketball with this thing. We got to get better with the callings. We got to execute too, but we got to get better. We got to, man. Shout out to Steve-O. Appreciate you. Monster, appreciate you for tuning in. Elite Rob. Hey, we still into this mix, man. We still here. No Tavon Austin. They just took him out of the game. They said, you know what? We not even going to. They used him for a decoy on 2 plays. I want to say 1 really, but it was really 2 plays that they used Tavon Austin as a decoy. And outside of that, you wouldn't even know number 10 played today. And for all those kickoff returns, J. Lou, he did a good job on 1 of them. But, man, I'm sitting here like, put that guy back there. Put number 10 out there. Can he flip the field? Is there anybody faster than Tavon Austin at this point? Don't he need a revenge factor? Put that man on kickoff return. Let him take one to the house. But they didn't do that. They didn't do that at all.
He stepped into a major role this year when at the end of training camp, we learned that Travis Frederick would have Guillain-Barré syndrome. At that point, we thought maybe he'd be out for a couple of months, but inevitably he missed the entire season, and the Cowboys' season would have completely derailed had they not found a guy like Joe Looney, certainly one of the unsung heroes of the season for the Cowboys. That ends tonight, 30-22. They lose in L.A. With former Dallas Cowboy Jesse Holley, I am Amari Temkin. Let's go back to L.A. now. Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com, joining us. But first, let me tell you that now's a good time to tell you that SeatGeek is the new official primary ticketing partner of America's team. SeatGeek makes managing tickets easy, whether it's buying or transferring. Download the SeatGeek app on your phone and take $20 off your first purchase using code DallasCowboys at checkout. SeatGeek. Life's an event. SeatGeek has the tickets. Mickey, your thoughts on the Cowboys' 30-22 disappointing loss in L.A.?
Well, this won't be any breaking news to you when you allow a team to run for 273 yards on you and 3 touchdowns. Chances are in the postseason, you're probably not going to win a game. And I think, we do all the analysis going into the game, and I think that was the last thing we probably expected. We were just worried about them stopping Gurley for less than 100 yards, and they end up getting 2 guys to rush for 100 yards with Anderson with 223 and Gurley for 116. And that hadn't happened to Cowboys defense since Baltimore in 2008. It was the final game at Texas Stadium. So the fact that they were able to run the ball that well made life difficult, especially for the Cowboys offense that, ended up getting 22 points. Obviously, it wasn't enough, but they couldn't run the ball whatsoever. So give credit to the Rams. Up front, their offense and defensive lines dominated this game. You guys, I was looking at the stats here. If you had told me that Woods and Cooks would have combined for 10 catches for 134 yards and no touchdowns, I would have told you Cowboys won that game, right? Well, unfortunately, when you give up that many yards rushing, there's no way you're going to hold a team to a reasonable amount of points to be able to win a game on the road.
Mick, defensively, this Cowboys have been their backbone all year long. But why was there no adjustment? There was no adjustment to what they was doing defensively. Was it because they were on the heels, the way that the Rams lined up in their tempo? Because they speed it up, they slow it down, but they run the same play, they run the same set 96% of the time. So you knew what the personnel. You knew what personnel they were going to be in because they are in that personnel 90% of the time. But they just seemed like there wasn't an adjustment from the Cowboys to sell out to really stop the run.
Yeah, and I don't know if they were, Jesse, if they were just so worried about getting beat in the passing game. And, they really didn't do that much in the passing game. If you look at Goff's numbers and you saw what he did, you would have said, okay, we won this game. But you're right. They line up in 3 wide. The Cowboys stayed in their nickel the entire time, and they ran on them. And I didn't realize when they ran their offense, that they run their generally their wide receivers are all in tight, and now you're in nickel, and it's almost like everybody's blocking, and you can't stop the run. And I don't know if they should have gone to maybe at times and played situational defense and said, okay, well, they're in 3 wide, but we're gonna go with our base defense and get another linebacker in there to be able to stop the run. But you're right. They just I think they felt like, at some point, okay, we're going to be able to do this. And the weird thing is all this stuff that went wrong, you could look at 1 or 2 plays and they were within a possession of being able to, score and go for 2 and tie this game up. I thought it hurt at the end of the first half when the phantom in the grass was called. I didn't know your own guy could put you in the grass and they, blow the whistle. And then, when you're got the NFL's leading rusher and it's 4th and 1 and you're going to go for it, you get stuck with you when you're within one position and you're in their territory. I mean, you gotta be able to make that, and they just weren't good enough to, let Zeke gain 1 yard. It's 1 yard. But again, in the playoffs, those things come back to haunt you. When the game ends up being that close. It looked like it was going to be a total blowout, and here comes this team again. They come charging back and didn't give up. And
Too late.
A couple plays like that, and you end up going, gosh, we got creamed, but we didn't get beat that bad. So I think that even adds to how much the loss hurts.
Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com. We appreciate your tremendous work all season. We'll look forward to reading what you have to write about this game and into the offseason, DallasCowboys.com. Thanks very much, Mickey. It's been a fun season.
Okay. All right, fellas. Good being on with you. See ya.
Mickey Spagnola, DallasCowboys.com, joining us right here on the Dallas Cowboys postgame show. Cowboys lose 30-22. Their season ends once again the divisional round of the playoffs. It will be at least 24 years before they have the ability to win in that round, and they are now 0 for their last 6 in the divisional round of the playoffs.
0 for 6.
Jesse Holley, Ari Temkin, and that's the tough part because there is reason for optimism. And I know, look, you can't just sit and harp on hope because you said it, Jess. I mean, there's so much carryover and variance in the NFL. There's so much variance. There's not much carryover in the NFL year over year. So on the one hand, you have the hope. They've had great drafts. The 2016 draft could be one of the best of all time for this franchise. We think that 2017 draft was pretty good. So look, there's reason for hope, but at the same time, keep getting these opportunities in these divisional round games, and you keep losing them, and you just have a fan base and a franchise that is not satiated by getting here and talking about hope for the future.
Yeah, that's well, here's the thing, Ari, like it becomes tough. There's some people, Cowboy fans, because what I've realized being in the DFW era and just, covering the games and meeting wonderful fans and wonderful people, this fandom becomes a generational thing. Someone's grandfather was a Cowboys fan and their dad was a Cowboys fan. And so in return, they became a Cowboys fan. There's people here who've been a Cowboys fan since the 70s. And there's people who got a chance to see what championship football is like for the Dallas Cowboys. And then there's people here
who have no idea,
have only heard the stories and watched the YouTube clips of what it was like to have championships run through the city of Dallas. And year after year, America's team, they're all the primetime games. They have all the publicity.
Yeah, but you got a transcending owner, and that's a storyline for 32 other teams or 31 other teams, I meant to say. To have those transitionings of hey, I rooted for this team, son, you going to root for this team, or, you're going to show your support for this team. That's across the board, guys. But I understand what he's saying, but that's any team in the NFL. Now, have yet to host the Lombardi Trophy. I got a chance to witness 3 Super Bowls in my life. That doesn't make me better or less than those who got a chance to see 5 or 1 or 2 or what have you. That's just how life is, man. 90s were our time, and since the salary cap movement, we have yet to figure out a way to go beyond that phrase of football. And we had a stubborn owner for a long period of time who relinquished most of his powers and said, okay, Will McClay, make this thing happen for us, So now we're seeing some growth factors within that, but the fact remains the same. I know a lot of people saying, okay, Super Bowl or bust every year, but most of that hype came from the 90s, And like the caller said, hey, or somebody posted in the chat box earlier, let's scale back the expectations and just move it 1 inch at a time, 1 game at a time, and say, okay, now we got here. We didn't belong in the playoff anyway, right? We did not belong in the playoff anyway. We were 3-5. Everybody counted us out. People were throwing their jerseys in the trash can, throwing their things away, and jumping over to the Saints and jumping over to the LA Rams and the Chiefs. I remember that, just like yesterday. But this team, for those who stick back and fight, for those who understand that, okay, the love for this team is greater than what I'm seeing from what the other teams are doing, what we got to do is just fall back and fold up, and not like weak tents or lawn chairs, and fold up and see what we can do to better ourselves during the draft, better ourselves during the offseason, and then we'll fall into this thing for next year. That's just the life of a fan, and I hate to use the filthy as an example, but was it 40 years? 45 years or something like that since they won their, first time ever winning the Super Bowl. Can you imagine being an Atlanta Falcons fan right now? The Cincinnati Bengals, the Miami Dolphins of the world, the Cleveland Browns. Can I go on and on? I've seen people, I know a coworker of mine was just pissed off about the Steelers not making it to the playoff and was willing to just throw away his love for his team. Don't they got 6 Super Bowl rings? Have they won in the last 15 years? Yes. So at one hand, we can look at the extremes and then think about this. When Drew Brees is gone from the Saints, what are they going to become? And when Tom Brady ever hangs it up for the Patriots, where all the Patriot Nation's going to be at? Are they going to pick this thing up? Of course, we can argue this with the Green Bay Packers. They just struck fire and luck to have an Aaron freaking Rodgers. Because if you remove him from the equation, they will be still talking about, hey, remember that Super Bowl in the 90s with Brett Favre? So that just goes to show, or the Chief fans, just like somebody mentioned. And Tawan, you talking about go Bucks for some reason, and he's in this mix, or she, whatever you are, he's in this mix. Talking about go Bucks. This is a Cowboys channel, but they still love to hear what Cowboys got to say because we have some type of interest about us. The media love to poke fun and to elevate this team because this team brings in so much money. If I'm Jerry Jones, I'll renege off of this particular sharing the wealth type of deal and say, hey, let every tub stand on their own bottom. Let's strap out. Let's throw away the salary cap deal. And we'll see who really the America's team. We'll see who really got the love and adulation for to play with that star in the helmet because there wouldn't be no salary cap parameters. There will be no if we really want to get dirty and grimy with this thing, there will be no revenue sharing. If we move all that out the window, I can guarantee you this, then the Cowboys will be winning over and over again, or it'll be the same old franchises winning over and over again, the 49ers of the world. They will start picking it back up. Those franchises, without this salary cap era, they will figure out a way. But let's listen to more what they have to say.
My low stress thing.
Oh, still a commercial break. Appreciate everybody for being part of this thing. All right, I'm going to try to hang out a little bit longer. Let's make it to 12 o'clock my time, okay? It's 11:52. Let's see if we can hang out all the way up to this time frame. Appreciate everybody. He says the Patriots is America's team. This is from Owns. I mean, you can give them that mantra. I wish that other teams can take that title away from us. But guess what? You do not give your own self a nickname. Once you get your nickname, that's yours. It's your baby. That's what you got. Other people that can imitate and try to duplicate, but there's only one that's going to remain the same, is the originator. That's why they say the originator. So, and when you're talking about America's team, you're talking about not just from the aspect of fan base power. You're talking about revenue. Of course, you can throw in wins, but the Cowboys in the last 3 years, they won games, so you can't really put that into the parameters. Jameis is better than Dak. I think Jameson is 0-2 against Dak Prescott. Man, you got to go back and educate yourself. Maybe watch some football and come back and talk to me. Let freedom ring. A RPO would have been better. Yes, RPO. I think Jared Goff got more running and more rushing attack than Dak Prescott today. John Davis said, "Dear Dak, ... Shout out to you, John Davis, man. Winning is everything. Yeah, you're right. Winning is everything. Who is this? Rodney Ellis. NFL let the Patriots win the Super Bowl only because they were in time of war. I saw a documentary on that. Let me see what we got from here. Laughing my ass off. This is from Dallas Cowboy Junkie. 12:52 my time. Okay, Texas time. I'm talking about 11:54 here. Got 6 more minutes. Deion Sanders strong. Show me the strong on, meaning that you will be back, ready to fight next year, right? Paul G. Yeah, let's go, Cowboy Nation. Todd Jefferson. Remember, last time Dak and Amari Cooper changed the play, they got in trouble. I agree. I flat foot agree with what you're saying. When they change plays, they get in trouble. Maybe if we get a younger offensive coordinator out there who can identify with Dak Prescott's strengths and utilize those things and eliminate his weaknesses, that will be a better deal. Because today we saw a game schemed for Jared Goff to not throw the ball, but still be able to roll out when it's necessary and throw the ball when it's needed. But they pound and run the rock, and they motion and move people out to side. David Alexander said, yeah, let's go a long howl with the Wolves. Yes, we still got it. Yes, D-Law performance was garbage. Hey, D-Law against the pass was still great. D-Law against the run today, they were schemed. They didn't run that much to the right side. They said, okay, we're going to run on the opposite side. They ran all day. If you look at the formation, they ran to the field side of the field, and most of the time they ran towards Randy Gregory and upside that middle seam right there against Antoine Barbecue Woods. So it's one of those things where we're going to have to regroup and look back at everything. You know how this thing go, Cowboy Nation. They're going to have to figure out something. Because you can go back and look at the film. They rarely run the ball to the right where D-Law was streaming off that side, whatever it'll be, his left or what have you. You know how I'm talking about, right? Yeah, Giants win the Super Bowl before Dallas Cowboys. Yeah, Terrell Jenkins. Terrell Jones, what I meant to say. I'm giving you a new nickname, right? Let's see what they got to say.
Moving him.
Lyle Collins has been a liability all year long.
Lyle Collins played solid this year.
Maybe that experience.
He's solid.
Maybe you do with him what you did to Byron Jones last year, move him.
We hope and pray that Connor Williams spends all of his free time in the weight room and at the Golden Corral, the buffet line. Luby's, Golden Corral, what's the other one? The kitchen, whatever that one is.
Luby's, Golden Corral.
Luby's, Golden Corral. Those will work.
Whataburger.
Go there. So he can get some weight.
Go to some Chinese buffets.
All of them. All of them. My next thing is tight end. Got to fix that position. You got to be able to fix a position where people are worried about your tight end.
Join us in 2019.
Yeah.
Get an athletic, over the middle.
And not Rico. I'm done with the Rico experience.
Yeah.
I'm done with the Rico experiment, the Rico experience. I'm done with that. Okay? You can't turn every hooper into Jimmy Graham or to Gates. It ain't happening.
It's not happening.
I don't know how many years you need with this dude. He had to play tonight. Ball hit him in the hands. Dropped it. I'm done with the Rico stuff.
Hit him in the hands.
I'm done. Let him go be a rapper. Let him go do something else. I'm done with the Rico stuff. I'm serious. I'm done. Stop it. Stop it with the Rico. Stop it. No more with the Rico. And then third thing for this offense, I go get competition for Dak Prescott. I make him look around and say, oh, he's in town. And I think that will push him to go and to work on this offseason on all the things that he needs to work on. There's a lot of work that he needs to do in his game. And some of it, like the accuracy part, like,
it's not really workable.
It's not really workable, but there's ways to improve it. Working on your mechanics, not fading away, not overstriding, not throwing from platforms that you can't throw from. All of those things can help it. It won't turn you into the most accurate passer in the world. What it will happen is you won't sail passes as much. You won't throw a lot of balls behind players if you work on those little things. So I think offensive line, getting more depth and help there, you got to get a tight end. Come into 2019 with your tight end. And then competition for Dak Prescott. Make him have to work this offseason and know that, hey, someone's coming for your job too.
The reason I brought up the 4th and 1 jumbo play call was because for me, you probably should start at offensive coordinator, and it's not a surprise to anybody. It shouldn't be a shock, and I'd imagine it is something that is likely to happen, but that's where I start. I think everything you said is important right there. Tight end, offensive line. Again, this is a league now built on athletic, over the middle, big targets at the tight end position. The Cowboys are still using this inline tight end as a blocker, not necessarily the most athletic kind of guy. That's just not how it should work in the modern NFL.
In the sky, man. Jason Garrett not going to change that out, man. Come on.
This all is part and parcel to the idea of here are other modern principles in the NFL they're not utilizing because they don't have an offensive coordinator capable of utilizing them.
Jason Garrett not going to change that.
The 4th and 1 call for me, there were bad penalties and bad calls, and it was a weird sack taken by Dak where he was sacked by his own guy. It was very weird and strange. It made no sense. But to me, of all those things, you had the ball down 8 in a 4th and 1 situation where you need to convert the first down, and you can, only you just invited 11 guys up to the line of scrimmage, and we've seen that from this team time and time again this season. It makes no sense. It's completely and utterly nonsensical. Stop doing it. Get rid of the jumbo package. Take your 13 personnel and get rid of it and never show it to me again.
But then you run it at the best player on their defense. You run it at the best player in the National Football League on defense, and definitely on defense. Arguably the best player in the league.
Yeah,
you run it at him.
And that's kind of that, like, well, we're just going to out-execute you kind of idea. And it's like, just don't run 13 personnel at that guy. Not going to win that way.
Sometimes it comes down to, like, not the X's and O's, but the Jimmys and Joes.
Yeah,
that Joe is better than your Jimmy. He's better than all of your Jimmys. Like, don't do that.
Oh, buddy.
877-881-1053, 877-881-1053. We'll take your phone calls and texts here in a moment. But first, let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. You're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
This is the exclusive home of Dallas Cowboys football. KRLD FM and HD1, Dallas, Fort Worth. Let's go, Cowboys.
A radio.com station.
We have a lot to talk about in terms of how they're going to build this thing, the offseason, but we're wrapping a bow on this season, a crazy, bizarre, weird season that ends again for the Cowboys in the divisional round of the playoffs, 30-22. They lead the Rams. And we're picking up pieces.
It is what it is, right?
Temkin, you're listening to the Dallas Cowboys Radio Network.
Let's say you just bought.
Yes, indeed. Draft is time now, so don't forget to put down Cowboy Nation. Let's get our mind back together, man. It's not over with yet. For those who out here been following the channel for a long time, appreciate you all. Thank those who made the donation. Thank those who contribute. Appreciate it. Thank y'all for being part of the mix, man. I really appreciate each and every last one of you all as my music is fading out. I just want to say this right here. All we got to do is wait for this offseason now. It hurts. Trust me, I'm upset. I'm mad that we lost. But we're going to look back at everything, reevaluate everything. Offensive line, yeah, we're going to take a look at that. quarterback. Maybe we can get some pressure like the team said, 105.3 the fan. They said maybe you can put some pressure under Dak Prescott, but a lot of people was calling for Mike White and Cooper Rush and things like that. It's okay. And what we're going to have to do is see what they're going to do with coaching staff. The biggest offseason move, I guess Rod Marinelli said it was Chris Richard. Maybe, just maybe we can figure out a way to get another offensive coordinator into this thing. Maybe that can work out. That's all the time I have for this wonderful night. I really thank you all for yours. Don't forget to hit that like button, share this content, tell a friend, neighbor, or foe, or a troll. Let them know where they can go to see the nation. We'll be live like 95 early in the morning. I might jump back on live later on tonight. I don't know, man, depending on how my sleep pattern goes. But all we got to do is one game at a time. Hey, we right now, we started the offseason already, so we 0-0, baby. Let's go. And remember, you're listening to nothing but the